But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition.
Oh, you're just talking in circles.
Where are the jokes?
That one has a lot to it. Ooh. He makes some legitimately really good, strong points. And I like that it's the narrator's own insanity that kind of stops him from getting to the point of sounding very self-flagellating. because like you can't come at it from that perspective. You can't come at it from the perspective of they're only doing this because they're mad and they're discontent with their own lives, so they tear me down because I'm trying to actually do something or because I'm actually trying to say something. But he has a point about that whole kind of gorging yourself on entertainment stuff. Um, how that has to be a reflection of yourself, and how like, oh, because I want it, it means that the game's not perfect if it doesn't have it. And it's like, oh, I didn't like the narrator because he talks too much. Then maybe the game's not for you. Maybe you spent money on something that wasn't made for you. Maybe you're getting a little bit mad about something that wasn't made for you, and the fact that it wasn't made for you is what annoys you, which is why you want something that makes it for you. But that's not how entertainment is. That's not how art is. You can't make something for everyone, because if you make it for everyone, then it's for no one. And sometimes when you make something special, it's meant for the few people who really do resonate with it, and not necessarily somebody who's used to other things. Like, not everything that you're going to spend money on, not everything that you're going to watch, not everything you're going to play is going to be for you or will be to your taste. And sometimes there'll be things that like you'll really like and that they'll make you want to stick through it so that you can try something different. And maybe to play like a complete devil's advocate, maybe sometimes there is an issue. Sometimes there is an error. Sometimes you do make an oversight in something in game development because you thought like maybe this will work. No, it doesn't. And then you get feedback for it and like, okay, maybe we were wrong about this. Maybe we can adjust this and change it and make it better. But then there are other times when you're playing a game or you're making a game and you're like, okay, some people might be annoyed by this. That's fine. It's fine if some people are going to be annoyed by failing multiple times to figure something out. It's fine if some people are going to be annoyed because the town that you made is a little bit confusing, perhaps with the intention to be confusing. Some people are going to be annoyed simply because one of the characters has blue hair. That's fine. You can't make not only games, you can't make art if you're constantly putting yourself in the headspace of what if somebody doesn't like this? Because there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like it. It doesn't matter how hard you try to appeal to as many people as possible. There's no guarantee that you'll ever make something or ever do something that somebody else doesn't have an issue with. Like you're fighting air at that point. Like you can't make a perfect game. You can't make perfect art. You can't make something that resonates with everybody. And that's fine. But then we're also in this state where there's so much constant critical feedback from people who aren't really good at providing constructive criticism or good, accurate feedback. So then you're like, okay, this person says that this should do 10% more damage, and somebody else is like, no, it should do 5% less. It's like, who do you listen to? Who has a more valid point? Who's making a louder noise about it? Are there more people talking about this thing because they heard it from this person first, or are they making the opposite point because they heard it from somebody else first? Do these people even play the game? Do these people even own the game? How far did these people get into the game? Did they get to the point where like that part actually got better? Were they simply just playing the game wrong? There's too many factors to take literally everybody into consideration for different things. That review about that even just thinking about it now, like that review of the guy saying like you got to stand there forever so the narrator can speak. You can stand there once. Like what I was just literally doing. This is still my first time playing the game. Like I was standing there once, like, oh, I heard this line. Like, oh, this is a funny line. I want to see what happens. And like, okay, I clearly ran out the dialogue. Then I moved. And it's like, okay, I'm hearing this line again. I've heard it before. I don't need to stand there, then I move. When it's a game about you making multiple different choices, going down multiple different paths, and branching across those paths, yeah, there's going to be dialogue for people who are there for the first time. Then you can run right past it. There's different triggers that cause that to happen. Like arbitrarily, like if I was to walk to this post, like say I have to make a choice at this post and I made all the choices before here. First time player, oh, go here, start, stop, funny. Go here, start, stop. Go here, then I get to make a choice. If I'm doing this again, it's like, okay, been here, get to go here, and then make the different choice. Like, games are designed for people to have a first time and hopefully a second time experience, especially if it's something with multiple choices. You can't expect everybody to want the things that you want, and you can't expect that the developers would also think like, yeah, the narrator that we spent this much money on to record for the game multiple times before the game fully came out, yeah, we should just have a skip button for that. Like, what? Like, the narrator is your most consistent other character in the game. Like, aside from Stanley / you as the player, the narrator is the second person, like, in this game who you're consistently talking to and interacting with. What do you mean you want to skip his dialogue 90% of the time? You're effectively just skipping the game at that point. Like, not everything has to be for you, and that's okay. And sometimes if something isn't for you, maybe if you approach it with a little bit more of an open mind, maybe you might change and learn to like something that you otherwise wouldn't have before.